So I watched the 2 All Elite Wrestling programs, and it is with a heavy heart that I announce that Chris Jericho's string has come to an end. The party segment, the thank you party on the November 27 program, the night before Thanksgiving, Soul Train Jones hosted a party to thank Chris Jericho for All Elite Wrestling success, etc., right? What'd you think before I get started?
Well, if you remember, you and I talked a couple weeks ago, and I said, have you watched this? And you said, I haven't. And I said, I really want to know your opinion because with it being Chris Jericho, I could see you going either way. I thought there were, see, it's weird saying something like this and nitpicking. I thought there were moments that I liked, but overall, it was the same goofiness I don't like on WWE television. So I don't like it here, even though the fans react a little better to it than they do on WWE TV. And although there was someone in a box, which usually is
nobody got over,
which is usually enough to make you happy. Yeah, I mean, I want an alternative to what's out there. I don't want another version of what's out there. And for that reason, and I've been very high on Chris Jericho and AEW, I didn't like the segment.
This was on a lot of levels not good at all. And this proves what happens when the boys get to do what they want or what tickles them. Even the big star boys sometimes. When they get to do what they want and what tickles them without anybody to put their foot down, this is kind of shit that takes place. And let me say this, a lot of people are going to say, well, the WWE would have done the same thing. You're exactly right. They were trying to do a segment like you would see on Raw here. Except here's the difference, folks. And I don't know why this doesn't hit everybody in the face instantly. All Elite Wrestling can't get away with this. They can't get away with this to the average viewer, not the people who are already sold and have drunk this Kool-Aid, but to the people that apparently the average person that the 600,000 or 700,000 of them that have tuned out in the past 2 months, because the WWE could get away with this because they're known for tomfoolery to begin with, and the budget would have been through the roof, and it would be in a huge arena that looked like it was full, and it would be with stars that looked like stars. You would have in the 90s, this would have been DX, or in the 2000s, it'd have been Orton and Cena and etc. And people would accept it. But a new program, supposedly supposed to be something different and more sports-based or sports-oriented or a sports presentation, and without recognized known superstars. Yes, Chris Jericho's in it, and you could even excuse the Soul Train Jones as being, well, the WWF uses mid-card veterans in goofy spots. But the problem, with all the shit around the ring, the decoration, the thank you celebration, this show already often looks like a Saturday Night Live parody. So this just looks like more of it. And also, you've got people in it who are not only not major top name wrestling stars. There was no Mick Foley's, there was no Undertaker, there was no fucking people that would have been in this if it was on Raw. You have a bunch of guys that don't look very impressive in street clothes. And they're not household names. And for them to come out and start doing skits and bullshit just made this look like a fucking indie show that had somehow wandered into a fucking big building. All the comedies, the fans are chanting, thank you, Jericho, at the heel, and he's trying hard to turn to people, right? But it was goofy. They gave the fans the 50-cent off coupons. Look under your chair, you get a 50-cent off coupon for a little bit of the bubbly or whatever the fuck. And the smart fans that grab them and hold them up are mugging and working for the camera, obviously. Did you notice that? Oh, yeah. Instead of being mad at the heel, they're, oh, shoot me, I'm making a funny face, and they're shooting it. The audio was rotten. I don't know what the fuck was going on with the audio. He brings out, go ahead.
That's a problem with AEW in general. I mean, I know this past week, the show that aired last night as we're recording, the first 15 minutes or so, the audio was the worst audio I've ever heard on a national broadcast. But it's not even just that.
I had mine turned up to 60 and I couldn't hardly hear it. And then suddenly it popped in like I'd turned it up 15 fucking numbers. But also it's muddy.
You know, but I've heard from people who have attended those shows who have said they heard me say that the crowd sounds like they're dead. And they're like, what are you talking about? The crowd is so lively. They're into everything. I mean, this crowd eats up what these people deliver. It doesn't come across on TV. They don't know how to mic the room. They don't know how to get the house mic to sound good on TV. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Whoever's running their audio, I don't know if he's someone's friend or who it is, but it's the worst job any major wrestling promotion has done. I mean, ECW had bad audio, but they had no budget.
Well, yeah, and I've said, and you know, with MLW and I've said the hardest thing about a live wrestling shoot or live to tape wrestling shoot is the audio. But at this level, it should not be a problem. So, but it was. A Private Party comes out with Sammy Guevara. They're in street clothes. They looked like fans.
Not Private Party. Proud and
Or
Powerful.
not Private Party, Proud and Powerful. There's so many P's. I've jotted down P and P because I'm taking contemporaneous notes. Proud and Powerful Guevara. They look like fans in street clothes. They're not to the level of DX or the big stars I named yet. They don't need to just come out and look like a bunch of schlubs. Sammy Guevara was great on the microphone. He's a good suck up. But Proud and Powerful, they gave shit gifts. They were doing comedy, but they didn't really know exactly how to do it. It kind of drug. Jake Hager drags a petrified goat, and not petrified stiff, petrified scared. They could only get the goat around the corner to give Jericho a Jerigoat. And the goat's like, I don't want to be a part of this. And probably, you know, he knew what the fuck the show was going to look like. They go to open the big box. Jim Ross jokes, is it Abdullah? And it's Jericho's dad, who is one of the great New York Ranger hockey players, Ted Irvine, and not a natural television performer. And this went forever. And then he had Justin Roberts come in and read the official thank you. And did you see the slap and the bump? It was so amateur. Jericho slaps Roberts for having an attitude. And it wasn't a great looking slap because it looked like Justin may have shied away from it. But also then he takes a horrible phony bump face first, and they got shitty heat on him where he's obviously, my God, before I got into business, I didn't know how to work either, but I did take better bumps than that on my first day in the fucking business. And they got shitty heat on him, and he didn't know what to do. He's just covering up face down. It looks so amateur. And then the marching band makes the save, but it's SCU. And the big giant cartoon parade figures that were standing around the ring applauded the fucking marching band making the save.
I don't know why that just cracked me up.
Exactly. I would have been laughing if I wasn't so offended. If this was somebody else's profession, I would have been laughing too, because what the fuck? But it's a joke. It's a joke. They all want to tickle themselves. So anyway, no, I'm sorry. Chris Jericho has been the highlight of the program. This went too far, and there's nobody to say no. There's no Bill Watts there. There's no Dusty Rhodes. There's no Jerry Jarrett. There's no Eddie Graham. There's no a lot of people to say, yeah, it's cute. No, not fucking happening. This is national TV, and we're going to get some people over, for fuck's sake. So anyway,